Imagine this. You just walked through your front door after an exhausting shift or a brutal week at the office. You put in massive hours this month. You took on the overtime, you dealt with the demanding boss, and you even sacrificed your weekend. Then your phone buzzes with a notification. A simple text message. Salary credited. A deep smile spreads across your face, and you think to yourself, finally, all that hard work is paying off. You open up your banking app with genuine excitement. But the moment you look at the balance, that hit of joy instantly evaporates. After the rent, the utility bills, the groceries, and paying off a little bit of last month's lingering balance, your account drops right back down to where it started 4 weeks ago. You realize you have been repeating this exact same cycle for the last 2 years, working twice as hard while your net worth doesn't move an inch forward. You stare blankly at the screen, and that incredibly uncomfortable question hits you. Wait, am I doing this completely wrong? It is incredibly easy to beat yourself up when you feel stuck. But the truth is, you are not lazy, and you certainly aren't foolishly throwing your money away. The real issue is that our modern society and our daily routines are beautifully designed to quietly drain your hard-earned money right out from under you before it ever has a chance to grow. In this video, we are going to break down exactly how to identify and break the 7 sneaky broke habits that keep middle-income earners trapped, and how replacing them will completely transform your financial future. My name is Jack, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology of money. If you are someone who feels like you are earning good money, but still living paycheck to paycheck, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you out. Here's the thing. Most people assume that going broke happens all at once in a massive, dramatic flash of bad luck, like buying a luxury sports car you can't afford, or losing everything to a blatant scam. But for the vast majority of hard-working people, financial stagnation happens in total silence, driven by tiny daily habits that seem completely harmless on the surface. We have been conditioned to believe that as long as we aren't drowning in severe credit card debt, we are doing perfectly fine. But doing fine is exactly what keeps you stuck in the middle, wasting your absolute best earning years while your money slips through your fingers in ways you don't even notice. This is where it gets really interesting. When you look at the actual numbers behind these daily micro habits, let's look at a before and after comparison of 2 different people, Sarah and Alex, who both earn $75,000 a year. Sarah has 3 seemingly minor habits. She buys a $6 premium coffee every workday, pays $40 a month for a gym membership she only uses twice a year, and spends an extra $50 a week ordering takeout food because she is too tired to cook. Added up, Sarah is spending roughly $300 every single month on things that bring her almost zero long-term value. Now, let's look at Alex, who decides to break those exact habits, makes his coffee at home, cancels the unused gym membership, and spends an hour meal prepping on Sundays. Alex takes that same $300 a month and automatically channels it into a basic index fund that earns an average 8% annual return. Over the course of a 30-year career, Sarah has nothing to show for that money, except a lot of paper cups and plastic takeout containers. Alex, on the other hand, ends up with an extra $447,000 sitting in his retirement account. Same income, completely different financial realities, all because of 3 tiny daily choices. Here's what most people don't realize about why we fall into these traps in the first place. It isn't because you lack willpower, and it certainly isn't because you are lazy or foolish. The real culprit is a psychological phenomenon known as lifestyle creep, mixed with our brain's natural desire for immediate comfort after a stressful day of work. When you spend 40 or 50 hours a week solving problems for other people, your brain craves a quick dopamine hit as a reward. And modern society has made it dangerously easy to buy temporary happiness with a single click. We use minor spending as a coping mechanism for daily stress, completely forgetting that these small, short-term comforts are actively sabotaging our long-term peace of mind. To break free from this loop, you need a structured strategy, which I like to call the Momentum Core Framework. The very first habit you need to break is the habit of passive subscribing. This is when you sign up for free trials, streaming apps, software tools, or premium delivery services, and then completely forget about them while they quietly deduct $10 or $20 from your account every month. To fix this, you need to implement step 1, which is called the Total Subscription Purge. You need to sit down with your bank statements from the last 90 days, find every single recurring charge, and cancel every service that you have not actively used in the last 3 weeks. If you truly miss it, you can always sign up again later. But you will be shocked by how much money you reclaim just by cutting off the digital leeches. The second habit holding you back is treating savings as an afterthought, where you spend your paycheck first and promise yourself that you will just save whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month. The problem is that there is never anything left over, because your spending naturally expands to fill your available balance. This brings us to step 2, which is the automated first transfer. Instead of waiting until the end of the month, you set up your bank account to automatically move a specific percentage of your income into your savings or investment account the exact same day your paycheck hits. By removing the human element and making savings completely invisible, you force yourself to live comfortably on the remaining balance without feeling any sense of deprivation. The third broke habit is using credit cards to bridge the gap between the life you have and the life you want to project to the world. It is incredibly easy to swipe a piece of plastic for a dinner or a vacation and tell yourself that you will just pay it off when your next bonus comes in. Step 3 is the 24-hour friction rule. Before you make any non-essential purchase over $50, you are required to force yourself to wait a full 24 hours before buying it. This simple delay completely breaks the impulsive emotional state that drives retail therapy, giving your logical brain the time it needs to step in and realize that you don't actually want or need the item. The fourth habit is what I call financial blindness, which is the act of actively avoiding your bank accounts because you are terrified of seeing the actual damage. You know you've been spending too much, so you just stop looking at your app entirely, hoping everything magically works out. Step 4 is the weekly 5-minute check-in. Pick one specific day every week, like Sunday morning, to open your financial app while you drink your coffee. Review your transactions from the past 7 days and adjust your spending for the coming week. Facing the numbers consistently removes the deep anxiety of the unknown and puts you firmly back in the driver's seat of your financial life. The fifth dangerous habit is holding on to cash because you are afraid of the stock market. You think keeping all your money in a traditional checking account is the safest move. But with inflation constantly rising, your cash is actually losing purchasing power every single day. Step 5 is the high-yield pivot. Move your emergency fund out of your traditional brick-and-mortar bank, which pays you practically 0% interest, and place it into a high-yield savings account or a basic index fund. This allows your money to grow safely in the background, ensuring that your hard-earned savings are actually working for you instead of slowly evaporating. The sixth habit is treating your income as your only wealth metric, believing that earning a higher salary automatically makes you rich. You can earn $200,000 a year, but if you spend $201,000 a year, you are still fundamentally broke and one emergency away from financial ruin. Step 6 is the gap-focused strategy. Stop focusing exclusively on your gross income and start focusing heavily on the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Wealth is not determined by how much money you make, but rather by how much of that money you manage to keep and convert into assets that generate more income over time. The seventh and final habit is waiting for the perfect moment to start investing. You tell yourself that you will start putting money into the market once you get that next big promotion, or once the housing market cools down, or once you finally finish paying off your student loans. Step 7 is the micro-investing launch. Understand that consistency matters infinitely more than the amount of money you start with. So you need to start investing today with whatever amount you have available, even if it is just $5 a week. Building the actual identity and routine of being an investor is the critical foundation you need before you can ever successfully manage larger sums of money. To understand how these 7 steps completely shift your trajectory, it helps to think about an airplane taking off from an airport. If a pilot deviates from the flight path by just 1 single degree at takeoff, it seems like absolutely nothing has changed for the first few miles. But if they keep flying along that slightly altered path across an entire ocean, that tiny 1 degree adjustment will cause the plane to miss its intended destination by hundreds of miles, landing them in an entirely different country. Your financial habits operate in the exact same way. Breaking these 7 broke habits isn't about making massive, painful sacrifices that ruin your current quality of life. It is about making that tiny, 1-degree course correction today so that your future self lands in a place of total financial freedom instead of permanent anxiety. Now you might be thinking, Jack, this sounds great in theory, but inflation is incredibly high right now. Everything costs more. And I simply do not have any extra money left over to save or invest after paying my rent and buying my groceries. And I completely hear you. Because the current economic reality is genuinely tough, and prices have risen faster than wages for a lot of hard-working people. Here's what most people don't realize about that exact objection. When resources are tight, optimizing your habits becomes even more critical, not less. If your margins are small, you cannot afford to let even a single dollar leak out of your system toward things that do not bring real value to your life. Meaning that auditing your spending is the only real way to regain control when the outside world feels chaotic. Let's quickly review the 7 steps of the Momentum Core Framework that will help you reclaim your financial power. First, execute a total subscription purge to stop the silent monthly leaks. Second, set up an automated first transfer to ensure you always pay yourself before anyone else gets a dime. Third, use the 24-hour friction rule to completely eliminate impulsive retail spending. Fourth, commit to a weekly 5-minute check-in so you always know exactly where your money is going. Fifth, make the high-yield pivot so your savings don't lose value to inflation. Sixth, practice the gap focus strategy to prioritize your net worth over your job title. And seventh, use the micro-investing launch to start building wealth right now. Regardless of your current account balance, true wealth is never about deprivation, and it is certainly not about counting pennies for the rest of your life just so you can die with a giant bank account. It is about building intentional systems that buy back your time, eliminate your daily stress, and give you the ultimate freedom to live your life exactly on your own terms. If you are ready to stop spinning your wheels and start building a financial life you are genuinely proud of, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this today. And I'm curious about something. Which of these 7 broke habits do you think is currently your biggest financial blind spot that you are going to commit to fixing this week? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one of them, and I will see you in the next video.